amazing book, She Came From Beyond. Nadine Darling.
You, sir, I'm going to ask you for that chair because it looks bomb ass, and I want to sit in it. Yeah, I would say. Yeah, that's better. That's about right.
Can I bring a little lamp and a kitten for your lap?
Well, if you could bring me that dog, he's really been avoiding me. But yeah. So this is my book, and it's called She Came From Beyond. And it's about a small town dumbass who has kind of a cool job as sort of, she's in a sort of like Mystery Science Theater 3000 kind of show. And she's the eye candy sort of Elvira horror host in that. And she happens upon a gent on the internet and falls in love with him. And there are complications. That never happens. I've seen enough hentai to know how this ends. Sarah, that was for you, baby. So you know what? I didn't even choose anything, so I'm just gonna pull something out, and I won't go too long. I'll try to see what's funny. What's funny? What's in the news? Let's see. What was that?
Posing for a picture.
Oh, fantastic. What, hon?
You know, you can use,
I'm talking to the dog.
Oh, were you trying to get out? Are you, that dog really
sometimes
hates
people take
me.
pictures of you. It's not a selfie.
Hang on a second, you guys. Hang on.
Oh, the road's here.
It is like Vegas.
Burn. All right. Hang on. Oh, hi. 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 Okay, you guys can all go home. Hi.
Stop.
She really wants to get off. You're such a, what, is it a boy or a girl?
The girl.
Oh, hi, Fancy.
She's an old one.
Yeah, she's not into me at all.
Oh.
You want down? You want downies? What? No? Good? Good? All right. All right then.
Look at this.
She's a star. Okay, so you know what? I'm just going to start from the beginning because whatever. It happened because of the shark, the great white, the first one to survive in captivity. She was a baby, maybe 4 feet, entangled in a fisherman's net. Instead of slicing off her tail and fins for profit, the fishermen brought her to the aquarium, where they deposited her into their massive Outer Bay exhibit, already teeming with sunfish, tuna, and the humorously graceful giant sea turtles that swayed and twirled like the hippo ballerinas of Fantasia. And she ate and swam as though it weren't a thing. Then, of course, people came from all over the world to throw down their wallets. A few days after the shark went on display, I got an email from Harrison, a capture of his airline ticket to Monterey, and this: Harrison, can you get off? Me. That's a hell of a thing for a married man to say to a woman who's not his wife. Harrison, very funny. Work, can you get off? I can make the arrangements, separate beds and all. Seeing that shark seemed circular, I guess. What we had too was something submerged with teeth. Harrison and I tucked ourselves away into a dark corner of the exhibit hall and kissed so fervently it made the shark in question dash like mad in her tank. High, I would like to think, from the electronic currents emanating from our hearts and groins. She would be released in less than a month later for hunting and killing a small hammerhead. The official release would read that her return to the wild was prompted by the onset of aggressive behavior toward her own kind. It was inevitable that Harrison and I would make love, yes, even though he'd booked the room with twin beds and immediately fell asleep in his the night we checked in. Oh, don't go. Thank you. But the trip to Monterey was not about consummating so much as it was about sensing, testing the water, seeing what could be held in captivity and for how long. I shook the small leathery hand of a spider monkey for a quarter on the trip. Harrison paid the quarter, but he couldn't bear to touch the monkey. I, on the other hand, was sort of delighted by the opportunity. The monkey grasped the tip of my finger tiredly. The pleasure was not his. I was just another John with a shiny coin, impressing no one. There was petulance and some big Lifetime movie stuff. I just don't want to be the other woman. You are the other woman. And many rhetorical questions to be asked. Would a man, despite what one of my fathers insisted, travel across the country for a handshake? What about a handshake and a steak dinner? What about 2 handshakes and a pat on the ass? If a man traveled across the country and no one shook his hand, had he really traveled any distance at all? The twin beds did not become one. We made love in one and slept in the other. And while we made love, the clean, unused bed seemed somewhat judgmental, with its dust ruffle and tight, smooth corners. The morning at breakfast, I asked Harrison why a person who sensed he would be unhappy with his mate would even get married in the first place. What now? Said Harrison. Get married. Why? Oh, I don't know. It's what people do. You get to a certain point in your life, and it's just what you do. That seems a little... And I struggled with the bit, which word I wanted to use. Communist? No, really, it's reminded me of a girl I knew from Israel who had mentioned that she, and everyone else apparently, was required by law to join the army at 18. Even the girls. She wasn't torn up about it. I love my country, she'd say, and then she grew up and stumbled off to the army, some kind of marriage based on some kind of love. The idea of it horrified me, as I'd seen Treat Williams, undignified and clumsy as I, be duped into going to war just so his friend could be a hippie for one more day at the end of the movie Hair. And then his hippie friends sang about spiderweb sitars at his grave and joined a large group of people holding flags angrily outside the White House. It was implied that the holding of the flags and the singing and the anger are what ended the war, but not until after Treat Williams low-crawled under barbed wire and irritated his superiors and then was killed. This is what marriage sounded like to me. A low crawl under barbed wire. A death. Yes, I know, said Harrison. The thing you don't know about it, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. There are things even now that you wanted as a kid and that you understand will never happen. I nodded, but I didn't really know anything like that. 29 was a very possible age to me. I still fully expected to win the cover model contest for 17 magazine. Even though it was only open to girls 16 to 19, I assumed that for me they might bend the rules. People don't want to die alone, said Harrison. If you get a sunburn, who will put aloe on your back? I don't know, myself. People don't like putting aloe on their own backs easy. This is a society of people who are dependent in their application of ointments. Yes, but that hardly seems a reason to marry. It's not just the aloe, said Harrison, reaching for my hand across the table. It's iodine and Bactine. And another person to drive on a road trip, and sometimes at Christmas there are sweaters. I think more than a wife, you might need a helper monkey and a bus pass. Monkeys lack the skills to choose holiday sweaters. And then there's the whole diaper issue. Yes, sure, you need a woman with the full function of her bowels and a full medicine cabinet. And don't forget the driver's license, said Harrison. And then he leaned over into the waiter's path and asked if there was a full bar in this place. Full, full, full. Later we would walk Cannery Row, and a wax museum would educate us all about John Steinbeck, his dislike of women and his prickly delight mixed in with his annoyance for Chinamen. It was a dirty sort of cave-like exhibit with rough, tattered rope separating the customers from the waxen scenes. A crackling auto of Steinbeck himself, sounding like a song I'd fancied enough to tape off the radio. Something with a withering drumbeat by Stevie B or Naughty by Nature, speaking wearily about the hot California sun. Oh, the toil and the alcoholism and the thinly veiled domestic violence and the pathos, the pathos. One by one, the scenes were named. A single light appeared above it. And the figures with their horrible marionette visages would take on some momentary animation, or would seem to. I would remember them striding painfully forward and turning their heads, like a true version of the movie Westworld, in which Yul Brynner decided that being a robot cowboy slave wasn't all that it was cracked up to be, and instead went on a theme park-wide killing spree. I would grind my chin into my chest for some reason, the dirt, the film, the lack of irony, and Harrison would grip my upper arm and say fiercely into my ear, "The next time you show me the back of your neck, I'm drawing blood from it." His marriage was like all marriages, at least the marriages that I'd known about, bereft, complex, weirdly sacred. I remember that around that time I'd heard a lot of people go on and on about how marriage was a marathon and not a race, and also many other things that a marriage was or wasn't. It wasn't a talent show, it wasn't a popularity contest, it wasn't a life sentence, it was a marathon. But maybe, I thought, there were always going to be girls like me at the marathons of other people's marriages. Maybe there were girls like me holding cups of cold water and wearing way too small shirts and reaching their arms into the participants as they were running past, seeing what they could grab onto and how long that they could hold it.